Hey, everybody. This is the Salem-Keizer Proletariat live stream. You're here. You're in the right place. Make sure that we're. Um, thanks for joining us. If you're watching this live, you're better than the people that are watching the recording of this, as always. We are going to play a little more surprise Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Right now, we're flying into Goron, the city of Goron. It's actually inspired by the city of Salem. I'm just kidding. I made that up. Um, so, okay. Okay. Alrighty. So on this live stream, we have a couple of topics to talk about. Hopefully this one sounds a little better than last week's. Last week's we had some sound issues. Can I just see something real quick? Real quick. Okay. So sorry, we're still trying to figure out some of the software that we're using to do live streaming, and I sound a little echoey right now. And I'm not 100% sure how to deal with that live, so we're just going to leave it and hope that it's not super distracting. Or you could just imagine that I'm in like a really cool echoey room. Just do that. That'll probably be more fun. The sound is better though, I think, this week than it was last week. So that's nice. So we're cruising through Goron. These are carts you can drive. You can ride these things. That little cage on the back of that thing. Oh wait, we don't have bombs in this game. There's no bombs in. Or there are bombs in this game, but they're different. Ooh, bomb flowers. That's a good idea. How would you get it to explode? So I've got my team here. I feel like that's a little different. Sorry, I'm still fiddling with some stuff here. I've got my team here. I'm not actually playing. I don't play this game. I'm too good for it. No, I'm kidding. My partner in crime and in life. Is there a cornier way to say that? No. It's a family affair over here. We've got some folks playing games and some others controlling the board, I guess, or the software. It's not really a mixing board. Holy cow. You got a rocket on there. And maybe you just kind of like, yeah, there you go. That worked. Yes, you can ride these things as a way of transportation. Usually they take you to places that you're like supposed to be. That was a rough landing. So yeah, this is and that is those people live here, right? What are the Goron folks? What would you call them? Goronese? Goranders? Goroners? Doril. Duril. Nice. Snuff. I thought that guy looked a little happy. We have a couple of things that we're going to talk about this week. We have not like a huge, heavy live stream. Last week was a little busy. This week's a little lighter. I will say to subscribers of the Salem-Keizer Proletariat newsletter, which I host on Substack, where all the cool kids hang out. Sorry. I haven't you haven't seen me in your inbox that much lately. I've got just like some life stuff going on, but also I've got a couple of stories that I'm working on that are like meatier, like larger in scope, and harder to report as a kind of a solo journalist. It's taking a lot of like research time, and I'm learning about different things that they're somewhat complex topics. So it's taking me a little longer to kind of hit your inbox again. It's been a couple of weeks, I think. But work's happening in the background. Um, real quick, I'll just plug. Usually wait till the end, but I'll just plug it real quick. Got a couple other places you can find Salem-Keizer Proletariat in addition to this amazing YouTube live streaming channel. Is that a little lizard? Nice. These rocks. You basically break them open. You mine them for sometimes you can get gems. Sometimes you get flint. Sometimes you get rock salt. Um, uh, amber in that one. Amber you can trade in and get money. In this game, money or rupees, which I think are Indian currency. I think the Indians use rupee as their currency, but this game does too. So you could trade that amber and stuff in for rupees, or you can attach them to weapons. Sometimes you can attach some of those minerals that you mine to weapons, and they can be pretty effective. We haven't seen this in your inbox lately. You will soon, hopefully next week. Got a couple of nice pieces that we're working on, and some other stuff that we're working on. Oh, I've also, I don't know if I've hit you guys with this yet, but we've got some stickers that are going to be available soon, and I'll give you a preview of what they are. The stickers are, let's see, not a preview, a hint. I don't want to give it away. Let's just say if you don't like the Oregonian stickers that you see on usually pickup trucks, then if you don't like those, you'll like these. Your dislike of those stickers should be inversely proportionate to your enjoyment of the stickers that we're coming out with at Salem-Keizer Proletariat. I believe I have not given away totally because you can't really guess what they're going to be, but they're going to be awesome. Yeah, so let's get into the agenda here. I have a couple of things that we're going to talk about. I think I have 4 things on the agenda. Let's start at number 1, right? Number 1 in our agenda is a little thing called why corporations close stores versus why they say they close stores. So in Oregon, you have likely heard in the past couple of weeks news that a couple of Target stores, retail stores in Portland, were closing. And Target announced that they were closing, and they announced that part of the reason they were closing was because of huge amounts of retail theft. And that's a familiar story. We've heard it before, not just here in Portland, but across the country. When a large corporate kind of retail establishment closes down, it's not uncommon for them to blame the conditions where they were operating, and in this case, it's retail theft. Of course, when that happens, ooh, this is fun. You got to shoot all those balloons. Ooh, nice. Oh, close. Do you have to get all of them? I'm terrible at these. Yeah, these are tough.
No, I can't.
Yeah. Man, they got that one down there too. How are you supposed to even do that? Can you use like Keese eyeballs on these? No. Sometimes in this game in Tears of the Kingdom, you have to complete like little kind of challenges like this. It's skill challenge, and in order to unlock a certain feature or get a certain something in the game or some type of prize. They're not easy. This one's difficult. You're on a moving cart trying to hit these. That one snuck up on you. That was a jump scare. You got 6. Is that enough?
I think so.
Quantifying. Oh, they look mad. The guy. No, that's a
They
smile.
already went over this.
Oh my God, did
They
they?
already smiled.
Oh, I missed it. The other guy was smiling though. The first guy. Hey, look, you're a winner. Um, You know what's not a winner is retail theft. No, I'm kidding. Retail, it's not a winner, but so these stores in Portland announced that they were closing because of high amounts of retail theft. Now, many of you listening to this probably can guess what happens next, right? All of the um, typically they're kind of right wing douchebags, like kind of like conservative folks. They they decry and lament the loss of another fantastic establishment in Portland. You know, oh man, if they would just enforce the laws, if we didn't have such a shitty district attorney, Mike Schmidt in Multnomah County, where Portland is, you know, maybe this wouldn't happen. And they these folks use this as fuel to power their argument that, like, you know, Oregon is a state that's, you know, rudderless because of shitty democratic you know, leadership, which in some cases they're not wrong with some issues. However, with retail theft and especially and these particular stores closing in Portland, um, you know, they're reacting with basically what on, you know, a portion of the story, and that story happens to come from the corporation itself, right? Target is the one that's telling us we're closing these stores because of retail theft. Um, and so you can choose to believe them, or you can choose to accept the reality that those folks are going to tell the most advantageous story that they can. And you know, it doesn't take too much, like kind of like mental effort to, holy shit, there's a little thing up there. Did you know that sometimes in those big ones, there's a room in the center of them?
Yes.
I don't know if there was in this one though. So what's advantageous for a corporation like that to avoid saying is that we closed those stores because they weren't, you know, economically viable for us for any number of reasons. Um, so that doesn't really matter because the folks who are looking for some type of, like, um, you know, the next terrible thing to kind of pin on their political opponents, they don't care about like what the actual reason is. They care just about having something to like latch onto to fuel their argument. So you can probably guess where I'm going with this. But the story that Portland, or that the target, the I think it was two or three Target stores in Portland closed because of retail theft, was bullshit. It looks like it's not true. There are a couple different sources. I have links in um, the description of this YouTube video. But on September 26th, when Target announced that it was closing, you know, these stores here and in other places across the country, they said it was because of retail theft and organized retail crime are contributing to unsustainable business performance. So there's this newsletter out there, also on Substack, called Popular Information. It's way, you know, it's a pretty much a one of the I would say one of the larger and better newsletters on the Substack platform. It's written by I think primarily written by a guy named Judd. I'm gonna guess Legum. Legum. It's Legum. Legum, right? Legum. No votes. I'm getting eye rolls over here. Um, So Judd and his team of reporters, Judd's a former journalist, like kind of with mainstream outlets, but he's doing his own thing now. So anyway, he's done this before, but he basically waits until the dust settles on these claims that Target's making, and he digs into the actual data that they use or the lack of data to support their claim. And he found in his piece that basically there was no supporting evidence in any of these cities where they closed these stores to suggest that there was any increase in the amount of retail theft, much less organized retail crime. And what he did was he went around and looked at essentially the police reports for the areas that these stores are in. They looked at retail theft or theft reports from nearby stores in these areas where these stores, Target stores, were closed. And they basically compared Target's claims to the reality of what was actually happening in that location. right? Based on what's happening with other stores and based on available police data. So they found, so one caveat though, and this is important, they did not have available data for Portland when he initially wrote this piece. So you'll see a bunch of other areas. I think San Francisco, a couple other places, New York City. So anyway, in a couple of other places, they did have the police data available. Let me know if that changes, okay? If that fixes it. No game audio. Um, so it's sound. Oh, I see. It's not. Does that help at all? Okay. Hang on, guys, real quick. I'm just Okay. All right. Let's see if that. Ooh, I think that may have helped. Game capture audio looks like it's firing now. I'm gonna turn it back down a little bit, and you let me know if it doesn't pick up. Okay. Okay. Talking with my engineer. I hired a professional engineer to help me with these streams. She's pretty good. I think we'll keep her around. A lot better. Okay, good. We're like I said, we're still learning how to use this software. So this dude, Judd, and his friends at Popular Information. You should subscribe to them, by the way. Really good. It's not local. It's good reporting. They okay, so they didn't have the data for the Portland area. However, not too long after they wrote their piece in early October, Fox 12, I don't really watch TV, so Fox 12, KPTV, they did their own little investigation of the Portland closures, the 3 Portland stores, Target stores that were closing. And using the methodology, I think, or at least, I don't know if they deliberately mimic the methodology that they used in Popular Information, or this happens to be the common way that you investigate this stuff. But they found that the available police information and data that they have for Portland does not support the claim that Target closed its stores because of retail theft. So basically, we have these corporations who don't want to tell their shareholders that they're closing stores because business sucks and they're not having a good time in some of these cities. They're closing these stores because they're not doing well. The corporation itself isn't doing well. There's other information that both of these stories, the KPTV link is also in the description, by the way. But what they do is they use these cities as an excuse to shut down these stores. And in their wake, they leave these groups of people arguing with each other, similar to how, these fucking idiots from like that, what's the name of that, Free Oregon, that dip up in Beaverton. I can't think of his name right now. And all those kind of loudmouths on Twitter, they go nuts with this stuff, and they take this little thread of information that's actually disinformation coming from the corporation itself, and they run as fast as they can with it to create a narrative that, like, oh, the Democrats are ruining Oregon, they're ruining Portland. It's all these woke policies, and the reality is that these stores are using retail theft as a scapegoat because it's an easy scapegoat to use. Look at this guy. Who's that guy over there doing Karate Kid? Did you see that guy?
We're gonna go find out.
All right. There was in his underpants. Oh, sounds like okay. So sometimes in this game, when you meet these characters, they kind of tell you what to do, or they're like, "Hey, it'd be really helpful if you did this," and then you get this new side adventure.
So this guy over here.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Nice. Okay, so you got to what? Train the dogs? Sometimes I love the text options that they give you, you know? Link says, doggies? Come on, man. You've seen a dog before in this game. Oh, we know how to befriend dogs in this game. You give them food or you run around them in a circle, right? Yeah. Look at that guy. So yeah, it's bullshit, right? And so whenever the moral of the story is, well, there's two morals really. One is whenever you hear these corporations talking about how they're shutting down retail locations because of retail crime, it's almost always bullshit. In fact, I can't even think of an instance where it hasn't been bullshit. There's no accountability for these corporations when they basically tell these lies at the expense of the cities and the population, the people in the city, the communities in the city. And so they just keep doing it. Like, why not? Where's the incentive to not lie about this shit? So check out those links. I think it tells an interesting story. And you know, like many things, the second moral of that story is, you know, don't fucking believe corporations. No, that's really kind of the first moral. The second moral is, you know, in this, you know, day and age when we can all react instantaneously across multiple social channels with our opinion, maybe we should you know, kind of see what the full story is. You know, certainly I think that would have benefited the entire globe with the war, you know, the Israelis attacking the Palestinians now in retribution for the terrorist attack, right? All this information coming out, and it's like people running with it, and 2 days later, oh, that's not actually real. Oh, maybe it is. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. And in this case, the little chest there, nice. Sometimes they'll hide these. Oh my God, that thing went flying in a weird way. They'll hide these treasure chests to kind of blend in, camouflage in with the ground. If you use your ultra hand tool, I guess, it helps to find them. So yeah, bullshit corporations. The second thing I wanted to talk about was I mentioned this on the last stream, and I said that we would revisit it when we figured out how to show how to toggle between. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to figure it out. Toggling between like a different screen and this gameplay. We tried it last week, and maybe that was the origin of our sound issues. But we didn't. We had some luck with it last week. The reason I'm mentioning any of this is because I said I would delay talking about something until this week when we had it figured out. We don't have it figured out, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. This falls along under the category of kind of like petty. It's not really news, but it has to do with newsmakers. Look at this guy. Oof. That felt very like, you know, he and turns his shoulder on you, you know? These apples. Have you asked him if he likes those apples? Like Will Hunting style? Do you like apples? He does like them. Look at his stupid little tail. Oh, he's a happy pup.
Now hopefully he'll take me to something.
Yeah, right? So
Takes me back to that place. I just got that treasure chest. I swear to God.
That's what he's doing. He's a good boy. Oh, you got stopped. All right, so this is a fun one. And I will start it off by saying that ooh, what's going on here? Hang on. Hold on. I just want to see what this is. See, now look. You can tell those guys aren't friendly because of their eyes. They make some of these guys look like meaner than others. But sometimes when they look mean, they're actually Yiga clan.
Yes, these have
Camouflage.
names though.
Oh yeah, these guys have names. Look at that guy's hairstyle. Look at both of them. Is that hair coming off the front of their head? It is. So that hairstyle with that goatee. He's got a nice outfit. So anyway, I'll start off by saying with this next one that I like the Salem Reporter. I really like it. Like I'm so glad it exists. I'm a paying subscriber. I used to work for a newspaper that was kind of like the Salem Reporter, like a local weekly paper. So I definitely have a lot of love and nostalgia for what those folks do. That being said, Um, uh, they have a tendency, this is my opinion, okay? So they have a tendency to lean a little bit to the right with some things. They also have a tendency to lean a little bit to the left with some other things. But I'm only going to focus on where they lean to their right because it serves my purpose. No. So basically, I got into a little, I don't know, I wouldn't call it like a tiff, like a little disagreement, a little back and forth with the publisher of the Salem Reporter. His name is Les Zaitz, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So Les founded the Salem Reporter. He's been a journalism a long time. Has done a ton of like really great work. And I don't mean to disparage any of the work. Oh my God! Look at all those treasure chests.
The dog pointed at that one.
Oh, so what? The rest of them are empty, maybe?
They just have green rubies in them.
Oh, so not really worth. A green, just one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found ember trousers.
Yeah. Ember trousers. Well, and the other guy's telling you to take all your clothes off. Get down to your skivvies. Less. So anyway, the Salem Reporter is also owned. There's two owners, right? Les and the other guy who owns it is this guy named Larry Tokarski. Larry owns Mountain West Investment Group. Larry also, through his own personal donations and through his business, basically bankrolls most of the local conservative Republican right-wing candidates, and he kicks in quite a bit of money to our state, state level candidates as well. I don't know how he contributes federally. I haven't looked into that. But an example of how Larry bankrolls our far right asshole candidates. He gave through his company like $5,000 to a school board candidate named Satya Chandragiri, who he's a school board director. He's on the Salem-Keizer school board. Larry basically staked that guy's campaign, gave him, I think, probably the biggest donation out of everybody. I'm not going to go into all the ways that Chandragiri sucks as a school board director. But he's the type of person that Larry Tokarski essentially enables. And it's, not good for the community in a number of ways, for a number of reasons. So anyway, Larry and Les, they own Salem Reporter. Salem Reporter works with another publication called Oregon Capital Chronicle. I don't think there's any I don't think they're owned by the same people, but they do share. They have like an agreement, I think, where they share stories, kind of like how newspapers run like AP stories, like Wire stories or whatever. Sometimes Salem Reporter will carry Oregon Capital Chronicle stuff and vice versa. So anyway, is it kind of like, is it like pixelated? Yeah, okay. We'll work on that for next time. The image quality for you folks watching on YouTube, it's a little more pixelated than it actually is in the game, which sucks because this game is visually very, very impressive. It's one of the reasons why we play it all the time and for this stream. So your goal here is when you step on one of those, you got to try to get to that thing, that circle in the distance, before all the little dots go away. It's like a timer. So you step on that thing, and then you swim. In this case, swim like hell to get out there. There's going to be something that's going to start shooting at you soon. It's going to be close. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Yes. Nice. Oh, you can stand there. Nice. So you get a Korok seed for that. Oh, God. I'm not going to go through what Koroks are again. Watch a previous stream. I forget. Maybe the first one. I talked about Koroks. There's a zillion of them in the game, and you got to find them all to complete the game. To, 100% complete the game. So anyway, Larry and Les. They own the Salem Reporter. By virtue of his political activity and donations, you could make, I think, a safe argument that Larry Tokarski is a Republican. I don't know about his ideology. I don't know if he's one of these far right fucks who like, wants to take away, the reproductive rights, who wants to, do any number of like shitty things that Republicans are looking to do these days. I don't know that about him, but I know that based on his campaign contributions, if he's not a Republican, I don't know. That's fucking weird for him to spend all that money with trying to get Republicans elected. So anyway, the other day I see a story published by Salem Reporter, and it was from the Oregon Capital Chronicle. They like borrowed it from them. They republished it from them, and it was about how there's this woman running for congressional district. Oh fuck! I always screw this up. It's either 5 or 6. I think it's 5. It's the one that the Chavez Deremer Deramir. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. It's the one that she's in. She's the Republican that, and her congressional district covers part of Salem. Anyway, one of her opponents is who ran for this who ran for this seat last time, or actually ran. Wait, you know what? Fuck it. I don't actually know the history of that like off the top of my head, so I'll just skip it. But there's this woman. Her name is McLeod Skinner. Her last name, it's hyphenated. Um, there was a story in the Oregon Capital Chronicle that the Salem Reporter ran that talked about some problems that she was having with her campaign. She's running for this seat again. Um, Julia McLeod. Fuck. I can't think of her name. Um, and so it was the story about how there's all this like people that used to work for her are saying she's a bad boss and she yells at people and she's mean. And it was just one of those really lengthy, like what anybody in politics would call a hit piece. That's what it is. It's a bunch of anonymous people. So anonymous meaning they are sources that are not named but presumably verified by the publication. They're speaking with anonymity. And they were talking about basically how terrible this person is who's running against this Republican. And then a couple days after that, the Salem Reporter ran a story about how this Republican who sits in this seat, the Chavez Deremer, is outraising everybody in that's in the race. There's a bunch of Democrats that are running in the primary. She's outraised everybody, right? Um, okay, okay. And this was a story, essentially, just kind of listing out about how much money she'd raised and how little everybody else had raised. It's a, I don't even know. In the political world, like political journalism, it's kind of, it's not a great story to run. It's not a great story to write. It's one of those pieces you just kind of write it because to fill some space usually. But the I noticed a trend with the Salem Reporter, how they were kind of like publishing stories that were like seemingly, when they talked about certain political candidates, they seemed to have kind of a slant. They were kind of putting their thumbs on the scales a bit, it felt editorially, by from what they choose to run and how they were writing it and all of that stuff. So I pointed this out on a comment. I commented on the Salem Reporter on their Facebook page about one of these stories, and I basically said in far fewer words what I just said to you guys. I said, "Hey, this looks a little weird. Maybe you guys, to avoid any, perception of bias, because they are a journalism outfit that claims to operate without bias." Side note, personally, I believe that's bullshit, not just because they're saying it, but because no journalist operates without bias and no newsroom operates without bias. It's absurd to think otherwise. So anyway, they claim to be a non-biased, objective journalism operation. So I said, if you guys hope to kind of, continue that, you should really include in stories like this that you're the co-founder and co-owner of the Salem Reporter is somebody who, bankrolls a lot of local Republicans. As a reader of the Salem Reporter and as a paying subscriber, I would absolutely want to know that. So I left the comment, and there was somebody who asked me a question, and then I responded to their question about what I had said with a piece that I had written a while back about how this Tokarski guy bankrolled the Satya Chandragiri guy at the Salem-Keizer school board. And like, yeah, because this person who was commenting me was kind of like, what do you mean? Like, how is this, like, what's going on here? So I said, read this piece. I talk about it in detail. So the publisher of the Salem Reporter sent me a private message on Facebook And it was one of those like, I'm gonna give you a chance to take your comment down, or else I'm gonna delete it, you know? And I'm like, who the fuck are you, dude? Not really. That's what I said internally. And I was like, hey man, I'm not going to take my comment down. If you feel like you want to censor me, then you do what you have to do, right? It's your paper, but I won't take my comment down. And you know, if censorship is what you're looking to do, he said he was taking it down because it didn't have anything to do with the story, which is bullshit because it did. And then you know, it was just like a little back and forth that we had. I don't think I was rude to him. I don't. How do I say this? I don't. I don't give a shit like what his like if he's been a journalist forever and he's got all these awards and he's well known in the community and I'm supposed to just like, I don't know. I got the impression that I was supposed to just kind of like back down and he was like scolding me or something. Um, so that's a surefire way to kind of get me to to not give up on it and maybe talk about it on a live stream. So anyway, I'll continue to describe to subscribe to the Salem Reporter. Less, I won't unsubscribe. Although the woman that was commenting with me on that post, you should know this, Salem Reporter folks, if you're listening, you're probably not. She messaged me privately as well and said that she was canceling her subscription with you guys. And then just after that, she subscribed to my newsletter, a paid subscription, by the way. So she took those dollars from you and spent them with me because of the way that I also shared with her what Les had written to me. I wish we had the right setup to show you because I have screenshots of his message. I'll leave a comment if you want to see it, I guess. I'll send it to you. So anyway, that's fun. It's not really consequential from a local news standpoint, but it's good to know. Excuse me. Probably not supposed to burp on a live stream. I ate dinner right before we did this, so what are you gonna do? It's good to know that your local news, as good as the folks are that put together the Salem Reporter, the people that write there are really good. The journalists are good, at least the ones that I'm familiar with. Great managing editor. It's just such tireless and many times thankless work. Like the Salem Reporter put on the thumbnail that I used for this stream was an image that the Salem Reporter ran when they held their town hall about the Salem payroll tax, which we'll talk about in a minute, the payroll tax. So they're doing good work. It's just like, why? Why would you fucking compromise all of that to hide the fact that your co-owner is basically bankrolling any shitty fucking Republican that wants to run for office around here? I don't know. It sucks. I wish it were different, but it's not. So you know, grain of salt with the Salem Reporter, especially apparently when they talk about congressional races, because that's really kind of what it was isolated to. Although in the past they've refused to mention their ownership when it comes to writing about candidates that he donates to, like Satya Chandragiri. I pointed this out to them back when he made that donation. When Tokarski made that donation, I think that one was through the Mountain West Investment Group, his company. Um, I told them that they should really be, you know, putting some type of caveat, some type of disclosure on these stories, and they declined to do that. Or maybe they did do it that one time. I don't know. I don't really remember. Holy fuck! What is that guy? Oh,
Those Gleons.
Gliok, a thunder Gliok, right? The lightning ones. That guy will fuck you up. Plus, it's raining. You know.
I was really planning on going up to talk to him.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that guy. Is it a bunny? Nice. You see that little glowy bunny straight ahead? You shoot that little fucker, you get rupees. Um, so, yeah, Salem Reporter. Get your shit together, guys. I'm just kidding. It's just a fun thing to talk about. Yeah, we are at the, what was this? Akala Ruins?
The Akala Citadel.
Oh, I don't remember this from Breath of the Wild. Zelda Breath of the Wild was kind of like the prequel to this game. And I don't remember this.
Seems like I've been here before. 'Cause
Akala Citadel Ruins.
I have a shrine here.
Nice. Perfect. That's way easier to see. Um, the guy down to your right, that red hole in the ground, if anybody's curious, that's how you get down to the depths. That's the next level down. It's like the underground part of this game. Oof, good luck climbing up that. Oh, you can do the uppies thing. Wait, what's it actually called? Oh, yeah.
The way that's angled.
Yeah. There's this thing where if you have a solid kind of, oh, it's raining too. If you have a solid object above you, you can kind of like ascend. It's called ascend. You can ascend through it, but we call it uppies because it's funnier to say uppies. Sorry, we're cracking ourselves up over here.
No.
I'm laughing. Holy shit. We have two more things to talk about before this goes completely off the rails. The next thing is more of a preview. I mentioned earlier that you haven't seen Salem-Keizer Proletariat in your email inbox lately because I'm working on a couple longer pieces. That, by the way, is probably going to be how things trend with the Salem-Keizer Proletariat. Life has gotten busier, and I probably will be slowing down a little bit on the publishing, but I'm going to try to stick with like kind of like more substantial stories that cover existing things that are going on in a way that's not been covered in other publications, or covering new shit that I find that I think is important. Right now I do a blend of both. I've been trying to kind of cover some like timely stuff too. It's just for one person, especially like I said, like life is getting busier. It's not sustainable for me to keep up like that. So we're gonna change the how the publication works a little bit. It's still gonna be awesome though, obviously. So this third thing that we're gonna talk about is more of a preview, and I have it titled. Oh, by the way, real quick before I get into it, we are going to. That's what that is. Yeah. We are going to. Shit, I lost my train of thought. My audio and video engineer showed me something funny. Shit, what was I gonna say? Whatever. So we're gonna do. I'm working on a piece about. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. We're gonna have at some point we're gonna have guests on this live stream, and they're gonna read the titles for the stuff I'm gonna talk about. We actually might have some famous people stop in and do some of these guest spots. I will not tell you who they are because I don't want fans flocking to the live stream. Actually, I do. What the fuck am I saying? All right. So listen, this next one is called "Why Are Chambers of Commerce So Fucking Terrible?" Chamber of Commerce, right? If you own a business, you probably have interacted with the Chamber of Commerce. They probably, maybe you are a member of one. They certainly have probably reached out to you to become a member. If not, you are probably familiar with the concept of what a Chamber of Commerce is. It's a fucking business group. In our coverage area, which as you can tell by the name of the publication, the Salem-Keizer Proletariat, our coverage area is Salem and Keizer. So there's a Salem Chamber of Commerce, and there's a Keizer Chamber of Commerce. Chambers of Commerce are usually, and in this case, I think it's safe to say with both Salem and Keizer, they usually operate. Well, let's just get one thing out of the way first. They do help businesses that are members, right? I'm not trying to say that they are completely worthless. Or wait, did I just say that? Was that the title of the thing? Are they completely fucking worthless? What did I say? Oh no, they're fucking terrible. I think that still leaves room for them to not be worthless. So anyway, they do some good stuff for their members, right? It's a good networking opportunity. But I would argue that's kind of all it is. Chambers of Commerce are essentially a networking opportunity. They do some good stuff in the community, right? They do like different drives, food, clothing. I'm sure they help out in ways that I'm not even aware of, right? But what they also do is nice. They they also tend to support Republican candidates for political office, which is not really super surprising if you think about it, because business is typically an entity most closely represented by the Republican Party, right? That's historically that's what we've always been told, right? Republicans are pro-business, small government, big business, right? And then Democrats are other stuff, big government. If you buy into that shit, I would argue that that's not even true anymore. Um, you can't argue that Republicans are like any more pro business than Democrats. Like, let's be honest. What the fuck is a Republican anymore anyway? Like, what do they stand for? Who knows? It seems to be just about acquiring and not giving up power. Look at these guys. Oh wow, I've never seen one of them up close like that before without having them attacking me. Look at their fucking noses. I never knew that they had like Squidward nose.
Mask on.
Holy shit. So if you in this game you can kind of pick up different masks. You get them and if you put that corresponding mask on with whatever monster you're about to face, they won't know what you are. They'll think that you're one of them. And you can do this to them. You can sneak up on them and beat the shit out of them before they have a chance to know what's going on. But once you do, once you pull out your weapon and start wailing away on them, they know who you are, or they know at least that you're not friendly, and they'll try to attack you. So it gives you a little bit of an advantage. So chambers of commerce, they support Republican candidates. So locally, what that means is that all of these, like folks on different, city councils and at the county level in Marion County, our chambers of commerce are supporting any Republican that you see in those seats. It's pretty much supported by our chamber of commerce. I know I can speak probably more thoroughly about the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. The Keizer Chamber of Commerce is essentially an extension of the Keizer city government, certainly with a very friendly administration in place. The Keizer government, right, the city council, they cut checks for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. The checks are presumably for the Keizer or for the Chamber of Commerce to promote Keizer, I guess. I don't know. That at least that's what it's claimed to be. I think it's usually like $30,000 or $40,000 a year. They don't have to give it to the Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber of Commerce and Keizer is usually the only one that asks for it. It's money set aside to basically promote Keizer. Keizer as a tourism location, as a business destination, whatever. No one else. I don't think anybody really asks. Any other group asks for the money. I don't know if another group exists that could even ask for that money. I doubt that they would actually even give that money to anybody else because these two organizations, the Keizer City Council and the Chamber of Commerce, are essentially joined together. In fact, on the last stream, I talked about my third unsuccessful attempt to volunteer for the city of Keizer on their budget committee. One of the people on the committee who has 3 times decided not to, choose me to as a volunteer, which is okay. The head of the Chamber of Commerce is on those committees. So it's crazy. All the events that you see in Keizer, the Iris Festival, Festival of Lights, whatever the fuck else there is. It's all the Chamber of Commerce. So they essentially like they operate as part of they effectively, not effectively. That's not the word I'm looking for because they're not really effective. They more or less are an extension of the Keizer government. Chambers of commerce, from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce all the way down to the ones locally, tend to support Republican candidates and the regressive policies that these candidates look to implement once they get into office. So I'm writing a story about it, and I'm going to use my normal tactics where I look and see all the money that they're donating to different candidates, and I'm going to prove, using data, that these guys are essentially bankrolling Republican candidates to the detriment of our community. And what I'm going to do, the purpose of writing this, is to raise awareness for companies who might just join the Chamber of Commerce because that's what you do, right? But just to raise awareness about what their membership dues and fees are going towards. If you're a progressive business and you belong to the Chamber of Commerce, you are supporting Republican candidates, and maybe there's a deal that you've made. Oh, fucking gloom hands. Yep, get out of there.
Not doing that.
Gloom hands are not worth the trouble. The the yeah, it's maybe you need to join the Chamber of Commerce or be a part of the Chamber of Commerce for the livelihood for your business, right? And I get that. I totally get it. You got to make decisions, to keep the lights on and pay the rent or mortgage and all that stuff. But just know that like, your money is going towards things that you don't support. And I've considered creating a different organization. That can exist. It's kind of like a chamber of commerce, but not really. I would never try to do like an official chamber of commerce because you have to work with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce or get their approval to use the Chamber of Commerce title, and probably follow certain stipulations and probably send money up so they can support Republican candidates on the national level. I was thinking about creating an organization that essentially is like a smaller, almost like a progressive chamber of commerce, more or less, a progressive business group, that would help businesses, and the way that I see it, that would help them more so than a regular chamber of commerce. I now again, so I'm going to jump into my opinion real quick. My opinion about chambers of commerce is that I don't think they really do that much. I think they're essentially networking opportunities that you pay for. But it's not networking with your customers, it's networking with other business owners. And I understand that there can be advantages to doing that. But in terms of feet, like getting people in the door, and getting revenue, like in the books, I don't think that chambers of commerce actually do a whole lot for that. And I think that there's actually a model for a business group, for progressive companies, businesses, that where we could actually impact your business. The focus would be on impacting your business in a positive way, not fucking holding a cocktail hour so you and 30 other fucking entrepreneurs can wonder about how to get people in your store. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't have room on my plate for that, if I'm being honest with you. I'd love to talk with like local business owners, if any are interested in kind of like informally joining a group like that, and seeing if it can get traction. But chambers of commerce are hot fucking garbage. And if you can avoid them, please do. And keep an eye out for a piece that I'm going to write on them, the local ones anyway, Keizer and Salem. Because yeah, it's not great. So that's a little preview of one thing that we've got coming up that I'm working on. The last thing as we wrap this stream up is I want to talk about the Salem Payroll Tax. I haven't written much about it in the Salem-Keizer Proletariat newsletter, which you can find on Substack and you can subscribe to for as little as $5 a month, which is like less than $1 a day. Wait, yeah, totally less than $1 a day. What am I talking about? $5 a month. No, it's like it's what did I figure out? It was like less than $1 a week, I think. If you no, that's if you do the year long one. The year long one is $50. The year long subscription. It's like $1 a week. It's like 90 cents a week or something like that. Anyway, it's my plug for the newsletter. Do it. So Salem Payroll Tax, which I kind of refer to as the Salem working class tax because that's who it's going to impact the most. It's going to fail. So this is more of a prediction, right? It's the ballots are out now. It's in the public's hands whether or not this tax gets passed in Salem. Again, real quick, a lot of you would probably know what this is, but the Salem Payroll Tax is basically a tax that anybody who works in Salem has to pay if you make higher than minimum wage. Minimum wage and higher, you pay it's like it ends up being like $1 a day for the average worker in Salem. So now, for those who work in Salem, right, you can live in Keizer, in Staten, in Almsville, wherever, right? You can live outside of Salem and still pay this tax if you work in Salem. This tax is the city council would argue that this tax is necessary in order to maintain core city services like police and fire and emergency services, but also some services that help the homeless population and other community services like the Salem Public Library and the Salem Senior. Well, no, it's called the 50 Plus Center. It's for older folks in the community. So, ooh, oh snap! You're gonna get a deer on the back of a horse. So in this game, when you shoot a deer, you get some meat. Boom. Did you just get him with a muddle bud?
I may have accidentally clicked on something, but he's dead.
Yeah, he is. That weapon is gnarly too that you're carrying. Spear with like the horn on top.
Obsidian Frocks.
Holy shit! I used to be in a band that had that name. Obsidian Frocks Pulverizer. Nice. So okay. So the Salem Payroll Tax, it's gonna fail. You guys, if you, oh wait, hang on one second. There's a really important thing about this that I didn't mention. So if you work in Salem, you pay this tax no matter where you live, right? The only people that can vote on this tax, though, are the people who live in Salem. Presumably, those two circles overlap. I don't know how much, but there's a segment of the population who will feel the financial squeeze of this tax, but will not have any say in it. And I don't know about you, but that kind of feels like that thing, that funny little 3-word statement that I don't know, some people got worked up about back in the day. Taxation without representation. Not to get all fucking libertarian on you, but no, it really you can't deny that it kind of feels like that, right? I know that there's scenarios where people feel the impact of things that they can't vote on all the time. I'm just saying that this is an example of one. So here's why I think it's going to fail. Public sentiment is overwhelmingly opposed. That's it. Public sentiment is overwhelmingly opposed. It's been expressed, in public settings, like, if you ever look at like any of the publications who write stories on this and post those stories on social media, you can see most of the comments are people saying no. I'm going to vote no on this. There are people who will vote yes, who are saying they will vote yes, and they are going to vote yes because of the importance of the services that are going to be maintained with this money. The reason for the tax, by the way, the reason the city is saying that they have to pass this tax is because of a looming budget gap, because Oregon has some state laws that limit how high you can raise property taxes. So while that limit helps keep property taxes low, it does not help municipalities all across the state are struggling with this, by the way. It's not just Salem. Municipalities are seeing increases in the number of people, the population, and the number of people who need services. They're seeing those numbers increase without a comparable increase in property tax money to help pay for those program services and all of that stuff. So until that is fixed, I guess, or addressed at the state level, these municipalities are left to do any number of things to try to shore those gaps. And in this case, Salem is trying to tax the working class to pay for cops, firefighters, emergency responders, and the other services that we talked about, library, and some other services. I might be missing some, but certainly the bulk of the money that they're hoping to raise with this tax is going to go to emergency services. Um, a lot of it's going to cops. Let's be honest, to hire more cops and to fill budget lines that are, to fill positions that are empty right now. So here's my secret kind of way that I've learned, or that I've come to the conclusion that this is going to fail. I was on Reddit the other day, and everybody can say what they want about Reddit. It's a cesspool. It can be, but on the Salem subreddit, which I am sometimes active in, somebody posted something about this payroll tax, and they were basically like, "Hey, I think the gist of their post was, I don't really know a whole lot about this. I've learned some stuff about it, and I was curious what people's opinions are." Now, the normal, like the caveats of like, I know that this isn't, a representative sample of the community and blah, blah, blah. Like, I get all that. I'm not saying that this is the surefire way, but what I'm saying is this is what I'm basing my prediction. The overwhelming number of people in that thread, and there were dozens and dozens and dozens of comments. The overwhelming, I should have put the link to it in the description. I'll try to remember it after we're done. The overwhelming number of majority of people in that thread were like, nope, I'm voting no. And they all had, some of them had good reasons. Some of them were just like, like your standard, like, I always just think of like in South Park, when they don't like something that's happening and there's all the people in the crowd and they're all going, rabble, 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 like that type of thing. They're just like, saying like, oh, taxes, blah, like damn Democrats ruining this city, that type of shit. But dude, it was overwhelmingly negative. The response to the idea of this tax. I don't think that the Salem subreddit is overwhelmingly conservative. I don't think it's overwhelmingly progressive. I honestly think it, based on what I can tell, I think it's maybe a somewhat decent mix. I know some of the moderators are definitely conservative. That's true with the Oregon subreddit too, which I've gotten banned from. But yeah, dude, the public sentiment against this payroll tax is fucking crazy. It is so loud, so strong, near unanimous, it seems. It's not going to pass. It's going to fail horribly. And I think the city councilors know that. They're already, the city itself is having these work sessions where they're, kind of basically coming up with, okay, but if this doesn't pass, what are we going to do? Yeah, so I think they know it. And maybe even more important than the claim that this is going to fail is the why it's going to fail. This payroll tax was a masterclass in how not to communicate in the political arena. Like, again, the Salem City Council, they're all volunteers, right? They ran for these spots. They don't get paid. The mayor doesn't get paid. Like, these are all, quote, volunteer positions. To say they come with no benefit would not be true, though. There's a reason why so many like attorneys and real estate people get into politics, right? It's the network that you make, and the business opportunities that come from it. So anyway, you see that guy? Did you see what the guy with the flaming club just did? He threw his club in the air, he flipped it, and then stabbed the guy with it. I didn't know these guys are doing fucking choreographed moves.
It took everybody out except that guy for me.
Yes, dude. That's Muddle Buds, man. One of my favorite things in this game. And then just, yeah, he still has a ways to go, too. Oh, yeah. The silver. Oh, see? He does that flip. He's a saucy bastard. He's going to get you. Oh, he missed you. Yeah. So, okay. So we're gonna wrap it up, but hang on. The reason is just terrible communication. I mean, this thing got started with the Salem City Council attempting to like not even allow the public to vote on this thing. Like they were just gonna they could have just passed this as a city council. They could have said, hey, we're going to implement this payroll tax. Here's what it is. Here you go. Instead, they were kind of like berated until publicly berated and chastised until they agreed to let it go to a public vote. Um, that's a rough start to get off on. You know what I mean? Like that's the wrong foot. You like you guys got to think about that a little bit before you that's the path that you take. Like, yeah, y'all are volunteers, but Salem's not a small city. It's one what like the fifth fifth largest city in the state, fourth maybe. It's the capital city. Like, how the fuck did this thing go that way at the very beginning? Like, especially in this political climate, it was just it was almost like it was so bad that it almost seemed deliberate. I'm not saying that this was like deliberate. This is a conspiracy, but I'm just saying it's that bad. That's how bad the communication was. That it almost seems like they deliberately fucking tanked this thing. Um, because right when you kind of basically create the conflict of not letting this thing go to the voters as they were going to do in the beginning, you have that's the catalyst, that's the spark. You gave like the business groups, that's the fuel that they needed to light this motherfucker into a bonfire to rally everybody around. And now you've got this wave of you know um, opposition to this. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terribly executed. Um, you know, city councilors were in their city council meeting, basically whining about we're just volunteers. We don't have any time to like go out there and campaign for people to understand what this is. We've been talking about this problem for a while. How is this a surprise to people? Like, bro, you're a volunteer, but like if you're a volunteer who goes to your volunteer job and complains and claims that like kind of complains about being a volunteer, like maybe you're in the wrong fucking place. Like I don't think that if I let's say volunteered with an organization that was handing out supplies to people in inclement weather, that don't have a home to go to. um if I went out and as I handed each person like a bag of supplies to help them survive, and I said, man, I really don't want to be doing this today, I'm a volunteer, did you know that? How the fuck do you think that would be received? Like it's I don't know. That's just one example of how terrible this all was. Um, and no, I don't have a better. I do have better communications ideas, but that's kind of what I do for a living, so I don't give those away for free. But from there's always bound to be people who are like, well, if you don't like it, you should run. Um, nope, no thanks. I don't want to. That's not how I choose to volunteer. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. I thought this was going to be a quick one, but we ended up going a little long. Um, Bam! Put a little eyeball into that arrow, and it finds your target. Holy shit! Yeah, it's got to be an octarock. It was a big rock. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. If you watched it live, again, you're better than the people who watch the recording. Don't tell them that. We're here Thursdays at 7. We also exist on Facebook. We have a private Facebook group. If you ask to join, I'll probably let you in. If you're not some, douchebag looking, just to fuck around. We've had a couple of those. You can find me on Instagram, Salem-Keizer Proletariat on Instagram. I'm not going to give you the link. Just go to Instagram and search the words I just said, Salem-Keizer Proletariat. We're here on YouTube, and we're on Substack. That's where the kind of flagship publication lives. Look at this guy. He is pissed. Not for long. Yeah, am I missing anything? I think that's the places where you can find us. So yeah, if we, yeah, like I said, Thursdays, 7 p.m., we live stream, we play Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and we talk shit about local news. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you. Well, I mean, you don't really see us.